Hey everybody, welcome to the Crimson Dawn Lightsaber review. So, we're going to go over Crimson Dawn sabers. So first of all, we're going to start off with, what do you get in the box? Well, first of all, you're going to get a lightsaber, a hilt, retention wrench, charging cable, and a nice polycarbonate blade, suitable for dueling, even moderate to heavy dueling, although it can leave marks if you get too rambunctious. You'll notice on the polycarbonate blades, the tips are actually pinned, so they don't come off as easy, but you should check these pins every once in a while to make sure that they haven't come out. I've only seen one so far, but yeah, they seem to stay in there pretty well, better than some of the other makers out there. So, with the sabers, you get a nice hilt that is jam-packed with features. Now, depending on what saber you get, you might get a V2 soundboard that you'll see in ones such as the Shade or the Banshee, some of the lower tier models, as one would say. And in the moderate to upper tier models, you'll get the V4 soundboard. Now, the biggest difference between the two is one key feature, and that's the blade, or as I like to call it, the crystal setting. You can choose between stable, unstable, or pulse. Now, the V2 does have those features, but they are tied to a sound font, as opposed to the V4s, which you can actually choose it with any sound font, any blade combination, however you want to do it. So, we'll start off with a V4 here, my personal favorite, the Osprey. All right. So we're going to start off with some of the features. So first thing we do is we'll turn it on by holding down the multi-function button, which is obviously located right here. It's that anti-vandal switch, makes it real easy to, not worry about bumping it in combat. And located right above that is the power port right there. When you plug it in, it will yell at you. It'll say charging, and scare the ever-loving shit out of you. Especially later on when it's done and all of a sudden from a darkened room you hear, done. But anyways, when you start off by turning it on, you hold the power button down until you hear music. All right, now I want to start off with saying that is the loud sound font. So I'm sorry if everybody just went deaf for 2 minutes. You'll look here, the switch is actually lighted. Nearly all of my sabers, the switch is red, with the exception of this one here, their newest one at the time of this recording, the Enforcer, where the switch is actually lighted blue. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason behind the color selection for the switches, or if it's just random, but they are illuminated. Now, with the saber powered on, you'll note that the blade is not turned on yet, the interior light. If you hold the button for 1 second, or as I like to call it, one blink,
soft sound,
it'll change the volume.
No sound, loud sound.
So we go from loud sound, softer sound, to no sound. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go softer sound.
Soft sound.
All right. Now, to switch between the sound fonts, you'll hold this button with it powered down for 3 blinks.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
Each sound font has its own quote that goes along with it.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not. I've been waiting for this day for a long time.
Now, the Kylo Ren sound font on the V2s, that comes with the unstable crystal, so the blade flickers, and the unstable sound font. So it is tied together in the V2, but with the V4s, you can change that, and I'll explain that in a moment.
You have something I want.
I'm Cal Kestis.
Now, this is my personal favorite sound font is the Cal Kestis from the newest Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order, which if you have not played it, you should. It is amazing. Now, we're going to put the blade in here. And you'll note retention screw right here. Just about every custom saber out there with a removable blade has a retention screw. You just give it a tighten down, hand tighten it. You don't have to go too hard, right? Put that in there, give it a nice tug. All right, that's good. So now we power it on. Now the camera's not going to show the color all that well because, well, it's a camera and that's what they do. It is green. You might be able to see. Let me change the light for you. All right. Now, with the saber turned on, tapping the button does a blaster deflect sound so that you can act like you're deflecting a blaster shot just by tapping this button here. Now, if you want to do an epic video moment where you're clashing, you hold this down for 1 second, watch the blink, and then it locks up. And you tap it again to shut that off, and it'll reset back to blaster deflect. Now, with the saber turned on, 2 blinks. 1, 2. Now you're in color change mode. So what you'll do here is, you hold the button down, and you will cycle through the entire color spectrum. Now again, it is very difficult to see on the camera, but we are cycling through here. And again, you just hold the button down once you're in color change mode, and it goes through just about any color you can imagine. And once you find the color that you want, you're going to tap this button again for a blaster deflect, and that locks the saber in. Now it also features flash on clash, so that when you hit, it makes the sound, and you'll notice that it is, in fact, flashing. To power it down, you're going to hold this for 3 seconds. Now that just powers the blade off. It does not power the unit off, all right? Now, with it powered down, you hold this button for 2 seconds and you'll go through what I call the crystal settings. 1, 2.
Pulse.
All right, this is pulse. And you'll notice it pulsating here, hence the name, pulse. Makes sense. All right, and we'll power this down.
Stable.
Now, the soundboard, it's saying stable, pulse, and unstable, but it sounds like it's saying stable twice. So just know that the third setting is unstable. Now this is the unstable one. It is very difficult to see. Now, I know it looks more like it's pulsing. Again, that is the camera. I cannot really do anything about that. But it is flickering pretty randomly. And it looks more like Kylo Ren's unstable crystal. And we're going to turn this back down. One more time.
Stable.
And now it's just your solid stable. And then, of course, it has the motion sensing. Now, when you're done, it will power down automatically. However, there you go. If you're done and you're finished, you want to set it away, you hold the button down until it powers off, and you just keep it pressed. Keep it pressed and listen.
The resistance is dead. The war is over.
Now that means the saber is completely powered down. So you're not wasting battery. You're not, wasting any, worrying about it getting bumped on. There are 2 retention screws on this blade. I did forget to tighten the other one down. So I'll tighten that. and blade slides right out. Now, I will say that it comes with a 36-inch blade. However, they can be cut down. I will highlight that in a different video, but they can be cut down. If you include in your order notes that you want a different size, they can do that. If you get it and you think the 36 inch is too long, then all you really need is a pipe cutter, and it's really self-explanatory from there. So, and again, in your box, they will also send you a couple spare screws. Now, this is a combination of all of these sabers, but they'll send you about 3 to 5 extra screws just in case you lose one of those retention screws at all. But now with the V2, it does not have the crystal setting, the stable, unstable, what have you. So 2 blinks with the blade powered off on the V2 soundboards will just change the sound font. Again, you'll still have the pulse, you'll still have the solid, you'll still have the unstable crystals, but they're tied to the sound font. So if you want the unstable crystal, you're also going to have the Kylo Ren sound font. Whereas with the V4s, which you'll get on the higher tier models, those ones you can change. You can have an unstable crystal and Cal Kestis' sound font if you want. So now, all you have to do when you want to charge them is you just take a 1mm plug and it goes right into there, no problem. And the other end is just a standard USB cord that you can use with just about any USB wall outlet or phone charger adapter, something like that, computer, what have you. I bought a 6 USB port hub off of Amazon so that I can charge most of my sabers all simultaneously with one plug. But if you are planning on storing it for a long time without use, a couple months, whatever, you might want to check out, and we're going to take this off here, you might want to take a look inside every so often and check your battery right here. All right, and here's the soundboard too, if you want to take a good look at that. And you notice that the entire thing, speaker and all, is in this nice chassis that keeps it protected, keeps the battery from moving around, keeps the electronics from getting damaged during use. And that's a real nice feature. But the battery here, I had on a competitor's saber. We won't say who because they're not a great company anymore. But on a competitor's saber, I've actually had the battery leak, even though it was a lithium ion. Now, I have not had these long enough for that to be an issue, but it is good every once in a while, if you're going to leave them without being used or charged, to just take a quick look and make sure everything's good. And if the battery, for whatever reason, doesn't take a charge, this is how you take it out. Is it just real easy to unscrew. Yeah, nice tighten up. Now, what's nice about the Shades and a couple of their other sabers, the Banshees as well, is that if you get 2 of them, right, which as you can see, I have 2, if you take off the pommel, you can combine them together as such, and make a staff. So now we have double-bladed saber. I cut the blades down on this down to 32 inches to run with it. I am 6'7", so 32-inch blades plus the hilts is a decent height for me. I can spin it. We'll include some of that footage later. And these pommels are threaded on both sides. I have an X on this one because of the 2, this one is timed perfectly so that the switches line up whenever it's connected, whereas if I would connect this to this pommel, the switches would be offset a little bit. Most people, that's not a big deal. I'm OCD and that bugs me. So But those are the shades. They're nice. They're simple. Fit easily in your hand. Nice style. Good for single, especially if you want to dual wield, you know, 2 different sabers. Even underhanded, it's a good saber. Their Enforcer, as soon as it was released, I had to have it. I like the silver, the forked end here. I also went with a 32-inch blade on this one as well. It's a lighter hilt than the other ones, and it just felt better with a shorter blade. But that's my personal opinion. You do whatever is best for you. They all feature the same thing: anti-vandal switches, in-hilt recharging, all the features, blade tune, that's your color changing, crystal changing, sound font, volume, loud, soft, etc. They have the vented pommels, so you hear the sound pretty well. This one has a nice, I don't want to call it spiked, but it is accented quite nicely on the pommel. My personal favorite, and from what I understand, a lot of personal favorites, is the Osprey. It has these nice grooves here, these nice finger grooves, and the sleeve, which gives it a real nice grip, even when you're out, you know, battling for a while and your hands get sweaty. You will notice that the pommel, or the emitter, my apologies, the emitter is not aligned like it is in the picture. Mine actually came a little bit loose during dueling, and I really hand cranked that thing down to about a 90 degrees from where it was. This is actually how it was centered with the button. So I tightened that down. Now, it is somewhat of a concern in certain, like the shades, that especially when you're running it as a staff, that this can come loose a little bit. So when you're battling, if you feel a little bit loose, you can just tighten up real quick. Now what I did on certain ones, and I'll get to it in a second, is I did add on this, the Templar here, which by the way, comes with 2 small blade tips that go in either end here to go with the long blade. So you in all 3 of them do light up. Now they do have a retention screw. I'm not going to tighten it down right this second because it's not really that important right this moment. But what I did with the Templar here is the side pieces, during the vibration of blade on blade contact, the side pieces were coming a little bit loose. So I unscrewed them and added a tad bit of Loctite. Now, I use the red stuff. I would not recommend the red. I would recommend the blue, but I didn't have the blue, so I used the red. Just a tiny, tiny little drop on the threads, and this thing is not going anywhere. But I definitely would leave the bottom part alone, just so that you can access the battery if you need to. If it should come loose, then, you know, just kind of hand tighten it. Now, I haven't had a problem on the Templar, which, by the way, is very heavy. It is very weighty and feels much more like a broadsword than anything. And yeah, you'll notice the Talon here. Now, this is the armored Talon. A little bit of a Frankensaber. I really had my heart set on a Talon. I spoke with Omega, and he said, well, I don't have the armored Talons in stock, but let me see what I can do. And he was actually able to put together one using the same handle as the Shrike or the Osprey, and then putting a sleeve over it and giving me the armored Talon that I wanted. So I was really happy with that. And you'll notice it has the same emitter as the shades, so you could run this as a double-bladed if you wanted to. But that is one nice thing I do like with the Talon is the emitter here. I'm going to use the short blade here, is when you take the blade out, it has that nice tuning fork kind of pitch to it. And then we also have the Twilight here. Again, sleeve has a nice subdued inside, which is what the armored Talon usually has. But again, Omega set me up with a nice armored Talon in the time frame I was looking for. But you really can't go wrong with any one. Most of it just depends on your personal opinion, what you're looking for. Like I said, the Enforcer is a lot lighter than something like the Osprey is, which is a little bit heavier. And then the Shades, which is, you know, a nice bottom of the line starter. It is also pretty light, not nearly as flashy as the Enforcer, but if you're not going for flashy, then it works great. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. YouTube is not great on letting me know that there are comments, so if I take a couple days to respond, I apologize. Hope this video helps you out, and check them out, crimsondawn.com. In my opinion, the best saber makers on the market. Their customer service, it goes above and beyond. I've been dealing with them for a couple months now, and yeah, I have to say I am greatly impressed with Crimson Dawn, with their sabers, their customer service, their website, and most of all, their prices. Best prices, in my opinion, that I have seen to date. So yeah, check them out, and if you're waiting to pull the trigger, if that's why you're watching this video, well, go ahead and do it. It is worth the money. All right, thanks for watching.